I'm Adriana Lascano, and this is my final exam interview questions. For question 1, what are the main elements of a positioning statement? Explain them with an example. So the main elements, there's going to be 5 of them. It's going to be brand name, category, target segment, key benefits, and then supporting arguments. So for example, using Bic disposable razors, Bic would be the brand name, disposable razors would be the category. Target segment would be individuals leading active lives who often find themselves needing to shave even when they're not in the comfort of their home. The key benefit would be that Bic has a greater convenience than other brands. This could integrate into the on-the-go lifestyle of the target segment, and then the supporting argument would be because it's inexpensive and widely available to customers. For question 2, what are the main benefits of STP, segmentation, targeting, and positioning? So STP, which is segmentation, targeting, and positioning, it allows companies to understand their target consumers and the unique benefit their product or service has over competitors. So by selecting a specific segment of similar consumers, companies can craft and tailor a targeted marketing plan for those segments' needs and preferences. So using segmentation, targeting, and positioning, it allows companies to focus their marketing efforts, mitigate competitive pressures, and ultimately achieve higher margins and profitability. Question 3, what is a base in segmentation? What is a descriptor in segmentation? Explain each with an example. So starting with the base in segmentation, bases are the needs, preferences, and motivations of customers that serve as a foundation of selecting certain brands. So an example would be environmentalism. And then descriptors in segmentation. Descriptors are characteristics that help us find and reach segments. So a descriptor for environmentalism, for example, could be customer values. So the value of wanting to protect the environment, decrease their environmental footprint, and are overall conscious of their actions towards the planet. All 3 of those values will help them pick certain brand products over other brands that are offered. Question 4, how do you know if a descriptor is appropriately selected for segmentation? So descriptors are appropriately selected if they're variables that are correlated with the underlying basis of segmentation. They also need to be correlated with the needs and motivators, which are the bases. And then you can also use past consumption behaviors to be able to predict future behaviors and accurately pick descriptors to make sure they're appropriate. For question 5, what factors do we consider for calculating customer lifetime value? So factors that we should consider when calculating CLV are annual revenue, product costs, annual service cost, average annual profit per customer, annual retention rate, customer lifetime in years, and then acquisition, which is the initial cost invested in the customer. For question 6, what are the effectiveness and efficiency metrics in digital marketing? So effectiveness, the effectiveness metrics, effectiveness is basically the extent that the advertising campaign led to a desirable outcome. So there's going to be 3 metrics. The first one's going to be click-through rate, which is CTR. It's going to mean clicks divided by impressions. So it shows how many people saw the advertisement and then how many people clicked on the advertisement. And then the second one is transaction conversion rate, which is TCR. It's the number of transactions divided by the number of clicks. So it shows how many people went from the engagement stage, which is the second stage, to the behavior stage, which is the third stage. The last effectiveness metric is transaction per impression, which is TPI. It combines the first and third stages. That's going to be the intention stage and the behavior stage. And then the efficiency metric, the efficiency metric is basically the cost of achieving desirable outcomes when the customer encounters the ad. So there's going to be 3 of those. The first one is cost per impression, CPI. It's the cost of the campaign divided by the number of impressions. And then you also have CPC, which is the cost per click. It's the cost of the campaign divided by the number of clicks. And then the last one is cost per transaction, CPT, which is the cost of the campaign divided by the number of transactions. And then for question 7, how can effectiveness and efficiency metrics help us design a better online campaign? So the effectiveness and efficiency metrics can help us design a better campaign because they help us know what we can do better for our campaign and whether it is working or profitable. So effectiveness metrics, for example, it could show us whether our advertisement is attractive. It takes the customer to the stated website or the page that the customer would be interested in, and then if it's targeted to the right audience. And then for efficiency metrics, it can show if resources are being used to achieve the company's goals and help us see high costs or low return to better utilize and distribute the resources. So by using both the effectiveness and the efficiency metrics, we can gain a valuable insight into the performance of our campaign, enabling us to make improved decisions, make our strategies better, and ultimately improve the overall campaign and profitability. For question 8, what is the application of RFM clustering? Explain with an example how you can create a metrics of RFM dimensions. In other words, how can you use RFM to categorize customers into some interpretable number of groups? So RFM, it allows companies to use a data set to cluster their customers into different groups to have a clear view of the recency, the frequency, and monetary activities of the customer's purchases. So using RFM, it helps better understand consumer behavior, can increase relationships with consumers, and optimize results of marketing efforts. So using RFM, or the meaning of RFM is recency, frequency, and monetary. Recency, it measures how recent a purchase was made. So for example, how many days since the last purchase. And then frequency is the regularity of the purchases, which is the number of purchases that the customer made. And then the monetary is monetary means the amount of money spent by each customer. So for example, the total revenue of the combined orders that the customer made, or that a specific customer made. And then after the numbers of all the customers are created in a data set, it's up to the organization to separate them into groups that best represent each cluster and label them accordingly. For question 9, how do we need to develop an optimization model? Why do we need to develop an optimization model? So why we need to develop an optimization model is to make a decision about a variable to try to maximize or minimize an outcome. So for example, you could be trying to understand how much to make a product or how much a product should be priced to maximize the profit, and then how many items to produce to minimize the costs. And then you could also do how much money to spend on advertising to minimize costs and maximize profit. And then what is the difference between a solution and an optimal solution and an optimization problem? So solution and optimization problem is the solution is a particular combination of decision variables. It could be a possible answer to the optimization problem because it satisfies all of the constraints, but it might not be the best solution. So, but on the other hand, optimal solution, that will be the best possible answer. So it's going to be the best feasible solution for the optimization problem. Thank you.